मैंने वो देख लो, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, कहीं पेट्रोल अस्त्र करके और लंबा चल रहा था।
In 2015, world leaders signed up to the most ambitious agenda of our times. 17 goals, 169 targets. The Sustainable Development Goals will leave no one behind. SDGs call for big ideas to trigger scale, trillions in investment, unlimited innovation. India will be the stage where this will happen, and it needs your attention. The returns on investments on the implementation of the SDGs is an estimated $30 billion per year. In India, this is no longer an aspiration. It is already happening. India's LED replacement program aims to replace energy-guzzling bulbs and lighting systems with LED bulbs which consume only a fraction of electricity. In 5 years, India will set up 25 solar parks with over 20,000 megawatt capacity. Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile aims to transform millions of lives financially and digitally. Innovating to find new markets. Expanding businesses. Adopting technologies. Improving the bottom line for business and society. Drive business. Drive sustainable growth. Invest in the SDGs now.
Hello and welcome to the 15th National Convention of the United Nations Global Compact Network India. It is our pleasure to have you all at this prestigious event organized in the theme of raising the SDG ambition, pathways for sustainable recovery and growth. Last 12 months have shaken the world like never before. The disruption caused by the pandemic led to a slip on the SDGs across the world, with India being no exception. It has posed a daunting challenge to buck up, recover, and grow to reverse the setbacks of the last year. The world is more connected now than ever before. India has for centuries professed and propagated the message of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, that means the world is one family. We are one and united in our efforts in realizing our commitments to a safer, equitable, and a prosperous planet for all. Sustainable development is the need of the hour. Businesses recognize this worldwide, and we in India need to chip in with all our efforts to give the much desired momentum in bridging the SDG gap between the SDG ambition and its realization. This national convention aims to play a constructive role in this regard. Global Compact Network India looks forward to have an engaging, enriching, and wholesome discussion on taking the SDGs forward with your support. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Udesh Kohli, Senior Advisor to the UN Global Compact, to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Kohli.
Honorable dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Shashi Shankar, President, Global Compact Network India and CMD ONGC, Shri Sudhanshu Pandey, Secretary, Government of India, and other dignitaries who are present. It's an honor to welcome you all to the 15th National Convention of Global Compact Network, which is being held in very difficult times and where we have been facing the challenges due to COVID. Now, part of this challenge has been that we lost our executive director, Mr. Kamal Singh, due to COVID. We are feeling his absence, and he is the one who was planning for this national convention at one time. In spite of the challenges, we have been working hard. Our team, under the guidance of the President, Mr. Shankar, and Executive Director and other team members, they have worked very hard, and we have got record participation of over 1,500 delegates who have registered, and many more who will watch this on the YouTube and the Facebook. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor for us to have such participation in this convention. We are also very honored to have the Executive Director of the UN Global Compact, New York, with us in the form of the video message which we have received from her. We have been getting the support from the UN Global Compact Office. In fact, they awarded us a project also recently. Several other projects are in the pipeline, and we are all working together as one community for implementing or helping in the implementation of the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, to which we are all committed. The members of the UN Global Compact Network India, they're all committed, and many of them, in their own way, they have been working for this implementation effort. I must thank all of them for joining us here also, as well as in the efforts of the Global Compact Network. I feel the discussions in this national convention will be of great value to us. In fact, they will show us the path for our future work, and I look forward to the deliberations by the distinguished speakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli, for the welcome address and setting the tone of this national convention with your address. Our next speaker is Mr. Ranjan Kumar Mohapatra, who is addressing us through a video message. He was to join us live, but due to an exigency, he could not make it in person. Nevertheless, he sent a video message on the convention overview. Mr. Mohapatra is chair and convener, GCNI 15th National Convention. He is Director HR at the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Let's tune into the video.
Dignitaries on the dais, esteemed panelists, my friends from GCNI, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon to you all. As the new year dawns, we leave behind the concerns, anxiety and distress of the year gone by and look forward to new beginnings with hope and resolve to scale new heights and attain new milestones. I wish you all a happy and prosperous new year, a year in which I pray that you all stay healthy and stay safe. Let me begin with a Native American proverb. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Our national convention aims at understanding the impact of COVID on India's SDG progress. It also aligns on recalibration required in post-pandemic world. Ambition of UN Global Compact is to accelerate and scale the global collective impact of business by upholding the 10 principles and delivering the SDGs through accountable companies and ecosystems that enable change. UNGC's mission is to render support to the organizations across the world so that they can continue to do business responsibly. Also to help them take strategic actions to advance broader societal goals with an emphasis on collaboration and innovation. Formed in November 2000, Global Compact Network of India ranks amongst top 10 local networks worldwide. GCNI acts as a country-level platform for business, civil society organizations, public and private sector organizations, aiding in aligning stakeholders' practices towards SDGs and 10 universally accepted principles in the area of human rights, labor standard, environment, and anti-corruption. As we approach Agenda 2030, and with 10 years to achieve the 17 sustainable goals as laid down by the UN, even though significant progress has been achieved over the last few years, I feel very strongly there are still enormous challenges across poverty, nutrition, sanitation, and infrastructure, which has worsened due to the abrupt disruptions in implementation of many SDGs due to outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. In words of Albert Einstein, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. As members of the global community, it is critical to utilize the power of technology, innovation, and social resilience to make our society, environment, and business more sustainable. Our Honorable PM of India, Narendra Modi ji, has been leading the India's SDGs drive from the front. As a result, we have achieved a lot in last few years, mapping all developmental parameters with SDGs. A major highlight being India's adoption of low carbon and climate resilient development practices. India is not only meeting the Paris Agreement targets, but is also exceeding them. I think the time has come to convert our well thought out plans and actions into tangible benefits for our nation. With this perspective, this 15th National Convention's theme has been appropriately coined as Raising the SDG Ambition, Pathways to Sustainable Recovery and Growth. We firmly believe that to accelerate and raise the SDG ambition in a sustainable manner, collaborative efforts like partnership and engagement with our stakeholders and that sustainable development success depends on the valuable contribution of the societal players. Accordingly, this two-day convention will see an unparalleled confluence of decision makers and thought leaders from diverse fields, including business, government, civil society organizations, academic institutions, UN agencies, think tanks from across the globe. Let me briefly give you the purpose of organizing this convention. Our aim is to understand the impact of COVID on India's SDG progress and align on recalibration needed in a post-pandemic world. We also need to leverage industry deep dives and CXO and industry leaders' insights to identify innovative solutions to drive SDG ambitions in the wake of business disruptions which has been caused by COVID. The need of the hour is to uncover opportunities to drive self-reliant, resilient, and sustainable economic growth. We must explore the role of the country survival kits and social safety nets in solving socio-economic challenges and driving resilience in vulnerable sections of the society. Together, we need to do brainstorming on how decarbonization, energy sector reforms, and sustainable supply chains can drive the green economy. Over 2,000 delegates from government, UN agencies, business leaders, SMEs, civil society organizations, and representatives from academia and environmental agencies are attending this convention on virtual mode. During the convention, conversations are planned on various important topics like commitment for sustainable recovery, flattening the climate curve, self-reliant and sustainable India, solving issues of poverty, hunger, health, and well-being. I urge all the participants to take part wholeheartedly in this conversation during the convention and to come up with innovative ideas, making our environment and businesses more sustainable. I am sure that our collective strength would give a fillip towards achievement of our SDG targets and mobilizing a global movement of sustainable companies and stakeholders to create the world we want and the world we leave for our future generations. This is nothing less than a movement. I'm extremely thankful to all the speakers and panelists who have agreed to be a part of this movement. Before I sign off, please stay safe and take due care of yourself so that you can take care of the world around you. Thank you.
We would like to thank Mr. Mohapatra for giving the convention overview and outlining the key objectives of this convention through his video message. And now I would like to invite Mr. Shashi Shankar, the president of the Global Compact Network India. He's also the CMD of the ONGC group of companies. Mr. Shashi Shankar.
Yeah. Namaskar. Good evening to everyone. Distinguished invitees, speakers, corporate leaders, delegates joining from India as well as overseas, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Global Compact Network India, it gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to this 15th convention, 15th edition of our National Convention. For the first time, we are holding this convention on a virtual platform thanks to the digital revolution accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world recovers from COVID-19, we are trying to return to the new normal. On our way to this normalcy, we have been offered an opportunity to reflect on our actions and consider how we can be more resilient to such shocks in future. While responding to the current crisis, we should not lose sight of how actions and investments today could potentially address other crises, including the climate crisis. So any sustainable recovery from the devastation of COVID-19 must be built on a global foundation of climate resilience. This is an opportunity for all of us. UN Secretary General Mr. Antonio Guterres, in a recent statement, has emphasized that now is the time to secure the well-being of people, economies, societies, and the planet. He has also called for a global reset and stated, and I quote, "2020 brought us tragedy and peril. 2021 must be a year to put the world back on track. We need to move from death to health, from disaster to reconstruction, and from business as usual to transformation." India, for instance, is a shining example in this context, led by our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji. The motto of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, resonating with the core SDG principle of leaving no one behind, the country is marching ahead with many significant changes and transformations. Recognizing India's mature and calibrated policy responses to turn the crisis, IMF has projected an 11.5% GDP growth in the year 21-22. By that account, India will be the only major economy to register a double-digit growth in the coming fiscal year. Our scientists and medical fraternity has demonstrated their ingenuity and excellence by inventing the COVID-19 vaccine at a time when the people and the economy of the country needed it most. As a result, we are not only self-reliant, but also helping many other countries at this time of their crisis. I would like to once again quote UN Secretary General, who said recently, I think that the vaccine production capacity of India is one of the best assets the world has today. It must be fully used. In sustainability development front, the narrative Satat Bharat, Sanatan Bharat sums up India's commitment to a sustainable future as the country's climate action strategies emphasize clean and efficient energy system, a resilient urban infrastructure, and a planned eco-restoration, among others. Today, India occupies fifth position in overall installed renewable energy capacity. Friends, economic growth needs energy in various forms. It has to be accessible, affordable, and clean. Humanity has been trying to replace the fossil fuel energy with cleaner and greener version of energy resources. But until we become completely successful in that endeavor, we have to keep producing fossil fuels, be it coal, oil, or gas, for the economic growth of the countries, for fulfilling aspirations of the people for a better life. While doing so, however, we must be responsible towards environment, particularly in terms of reducing the carbon emission to the extent possible. ONGC, the largest oil and gas producing company of India, which I am privileged to lead, is an extremely responsible corporate citizen. Over the last 5 years, we have reduced our carbon emission, that intensity, that is tons of carbon dioxide emitted per barrel of oil produced, by more than 12%. At the same time, we are engaged in continuous afforestation at several environmentally fragile areas like Himalayas and Kutch. Our contribution in CSR is one of the highest among the Indian corporates. We stand committed to the Paris Agreement, the UN SDGs. We also pursue several goal-oriented initiatives on sustainability front, like Clean Development Mechanism, Global Methane Initiative, Greenhouse Accounting, Green Building, Paperless Office, Energy Conservation, Emission Mitigation, and Sustainable Water Management. Coming to the role of GCNI, it has been doing a pioneering work since 2003. It has spread the message of the corporate India and has created a platform that offers a bouquet of services to its members to facilitate better understanding and imbibing the 10 principles into their work culture and corporate governance structure. GCNI is the only agency in India driving all the 17 SDGs chartered by the United Nations. In the past few months, GCNI has taken to the online platform and worked tirelessly towards achieving the SDGs as we inch closer to the set target of 2030. The 15th National Convention of GCNI, pivoting around the theme, Raising the SDG Ambition, Pathways for Sustainable Recovery and Growth, involves key stakeholders and leaders playing crucial role in uniting all the societal players together and building solutions aligned with the SDGs. We look forward to transform the two-day convention into a global stage where you all joining from around the globe will meaningfully engage and contribute to our journey of achieving sustainable development goal for people, planet, progress, and peace. I would like to thank you all once again for joining us on this digital platform for the global cause. We are living amidst changing times, and in this unprecedented situation, we hope to gain your support and overcome the biggest challenges through our collaborative efforts. Before I conclude, let me thank you for all your support, particularly the speakers, partners, sponsors, core committee members, and the Global Compact Network India team to help make the convention a truly special one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the valuable address. You've rightly underlined the massive need of gearing up to achieve the SDG ambition in this new year. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Vishwesh Prabhakar, Managing Director, Growth and Strategy, Sustainability, Accenture, to give the theme address for this convention. Mr. Vishwesh Prabhakar. Sir, if you could hear me, you are good to go.
Good evening, respected Mr. Sashi Shankar, Mr. Pandey, Mr. Mohapatra, Mr. Narayanan, Ms. Ojiambo, Mr. Iyer, Dr. Kohli. All guests and speakers, it's my privilege to present the theme address as part of the 15th Annual Convention of Global Compact Network India. Accenture and myself and my team take immense pride in being the knowledge partner for UNGC for GCNI's National Convention for close to a decade. We also remember very fondly late Mr. Kamal Singh, the former Executive Director GCNI, with whom we had many years of very productive association. 2020 has left an indelible mark on the world. It has brought to the forefront the imperative of partnerships and global involvement to make sure we commit to a way of working and living which is sustainable and ensures well-being of all, and more specifically, the most vulnerable and our future generations. With this background, we collectively felt that it will be most appropriate to discuss aspects of raising India's SDG ambition and pave pathways for sustainable recovery and growth, which is the theme of today's convention. Ladies and gentlemen, let me step back for a moment and highlight three of the biggest challenges we are collectively confronting, which present a significant opportunity for businesses, governments, and civil society to converge and develop new pathways for growth. These relate to climate change, resource scarcity, and inequality. I'll spend a few minutes to illustrate each of these. I'll start off with climate change. Paris Agreement poses a significant responsibility as well as a transformation opportunity. Businesses account for close to 70% of carbon emissions globally today. Given the significant impact of climate change which can have on economies and businesses, scientists want us to reduce carbon emissions by 7.6% year on year till 2030. COVID has enabled us to exceed this target, but we need to embrace this challenge and harness the opportunity which presents itself through pivoting to a green economy. As of today, approximately 25% of Fortune 500 companies have made public commitments that by 2030, they will be carbon neutral. Coming to the issue of resource overconsumption. At current rate of consumption, by 2030, we will be utilizing natural resources by a factor of 3, and this is not sustainable. There is an unprecedented opportunity to leverage the power of circular economy to reduce resource overload. Accenture Research estimates that for India, a US $500 billion opportunity exists by pivoting to circular economy models. Finally, the issue of inequality. It is a significant global challenge, and it got further exacerbated by COVID last year. There is an urgent imperative as well as an opportunity for governments and businesses to drive social innovation through convergence of new business models, leveraging the power of technology. Given this background, organizations are facing compounding pressures from multiple stakeholders to act now. There is an increased investor pressure. By 2020, close to 50% of global assets under management were expected to incorporate ESG factors, and this is expected to go up significantly going forward. There is a very clear consumer pressure where more than 60% of customers want companies to take a stand on issues like sustainability. Consumers are also potential employee pools, and employees essentially want to work for organizations which have a purpose, and research also highlights increased productivity for organizations working around sustainable development goals. And finally, governments expect businesses to really drive triple bottom line related outcomes versus focusing purely on profit and return on capital employed. In this landscape, SDGs represent the most comprehensive framework which governments, businesses, and civil society leaders in India can embrace to drive transformation along dimensions of ethical governance, planet, people, and collective prosperity of all. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you once again and look forward to upcoming deliberations to help India raise its SDG ambitions and chart pathways for sustainable recovery and growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhakar, for elaborating and putting this year's theme into perspective. Sustainability can be best achieved through the synergy of the public and private sector, and you've aptly described it in your address. The goal of inching closer to the SDGs can only be realized with the massive support from the government in power. We have amongst us Sri Sudhanshu Pandey, Secretary, Department of Food and Public Distribution, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. I welcome Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey to the convention and would invite him to inaugurate the session with his address. But before your address, sir, I request you and President GCNI, Mr. Shashi Shankar, to kindly launch the GCNI Accenture White Paper. With your permission, I request you to give a thumbs up on the screen to mark the launch of the white paper that we are launching today.
Thumbs up kar dijiye.
Also, I'd like to request all the speakers and attendees to put their hands together to mark the launch of this much awaited white paper, which is one of the highlights of this national convention. The participants, the audience can access this white paper through the link in the chat box. This white paper brings out the unwavering focus on the way forward and raising the SDG ambition in association with businesses. And with this, I request Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey to give his inaugural address. Mr. Pandey.
Thank you very much, Radhika. And very good evening to all participants, all distinguished speakers, all members who are part of the Global Compact Network India, all the people who are joined from all over world through various medium. It's a wonderful opportunity to convene again the 15th National Convention at a time when we have gone through a crisis of the century. This was unprecedented time, and perhaps nobody had, at least amongst us, had visualized that we will see this day during our lifetime. We had read about Spanish flu, but COVID-19 pandemic has been very traumatic for the entire global community. However, different countries, including India, they responded to this challenge, converting this challenge into an opportunity. The UN Sustainable Goals and their achievement, since we have target for 2030, I think each country has to revisit its own strategy and see how they can meet those targets, which might look very challenging now. Just to give you a couple of examples coming from India, where food became the very basic necessity during the lockdown and during the pandemic. Entire focus has been on food health. These two were the sectors which were in focus all the time. And this sector actually paid a lot of attention to the problems of poverty, problems of hunger on the ground. Just to give you an example and what kind of logistics operations that had to be undertaken to ensure that nobody goes on empty stomach across India. So, Government of India, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, used all medium, including the Air Force, planes, helicopters, naval ships, railway rakes, road transport, to some of the remotest parts. Even food had to be taken on yak and mules in hilly areas. And during this period, you will be surprised that ever since the COVID started, if you take March onward, then we have distributed more than 800 lakh ton of food grain across India. This is not a small feat. In this entire exercise, almost 15,000 railway rakes were involved, over 4.5 lakh truck movement on roads were involved, and lakhs of people taking all COVID precautions were operating as part of the supply chain at different stages of the supply chain. So this is just to give you an example that how operations were handled to ensure that we do not fail in meeting the objective of fighting for hunger-free India. And this was one of the biggest challenge which was taken up front. Another challenge was that the food grain is something which comes from soil. And during this pandemic, all the operations were very disrupted. But as the world saw, India procured highest quantity ever of wheat through its mandi network of about 390 lakh metric ton. And even when the pandemic is on, it is on its way to procure highest quantity of paddy across country, crossing about 900 lakh metric ton. Now, this is not a small sum. This is a huge sum which is being procured, taken in custody, taken in storage, transported, and then distributed. And in this process, to the farmers, to over 2 crore farmers who, from where this procurement was happening, more than 2.25 lakh crore money has been distributed through online transaction in their bank account. Now, this is again a very massive organization of effort at the village level, at the bank level, and this was done when everything was nearly disrupted. When this pandemic started, at that time, we had barely any production of hand sanitizers. Now, this is, again, I am saying this was fighting for life, because hand sanitizers and masks, they became the basic requirement of every individual. And within a period of about 3 months, now we are producing 4.5 crore liters of hand sanitizers, and not only we are meeting fully our own requirement, now we are exporting this to many countries. So this became an opportunity for us. Similar thing is happening on the food front. This year, as you know, because of the El Nino and some of the other climate change phenomenon, several parts of the world are facing a shortage of food grain. And India will be exporting more than 150 lakh ton of rice. Already we have touched about 90 lakh metric ton of rice export. So we will be meeting requirement of the global community and will assist them in their fight against hunger, which is one of the fundamental goals of the SDG. Another thing, again, many countries have lost not only the rice crop, they have also lost a wheat crop, several countries in Africa. And even though India was traditionally never an exporter of wheat, but this time wheat export has also started happening. Another thing, this is again India's contribution towards fighting the global hunger. Another thing that India is doing during this pandemic period in achieving SDG goals is on the climate front. Using and promoting green fuel is one of our priorities. And this priority has got a kind of push, very major push during this period. I would just like to share again some startling figures with you. In 2013-14, we were just producing 38 crore liters of ethanol, which was not even meeting the requirement of 1% of blending. It was just about 0.6% of blending at that time. And now this year, we will be producing, using the sugar cane production, diverting the sugar and the sugar juice, using all the three medium of B molasses, C molasses, and the sugar syrup. We will be producing about 325 crore liters of ethanol, and we will meet 8.5% blending in our fuel. Next year, we will touch over 500 crore liters, and we will meet the target of 10% blending. With this pace, we intend to reach the target of 20% blending by 2025. So in this way, one of the desired objectives of promoting a green fuel as part of our biofuel policy, we would be able to achieve that goal in a big way. And it is going in the process to help a lot of businesses. We expect that the ethanol distillation gives an opportunity for about 40,000 crore of investment to distillers. Another very major initiative towards the green fuel promotion that has been taken by India during this COVID period, that country has allowed use of maize grain towards ethanol production. So we already have about 280 lakh metric ton of maize production, and around 5 states of India which majorly produce maize now would be in a position to convert that into ethanol. It's a wonderful opportunity again for the industry using the dual use units, distilleries, which can use either grain or the sugar cane for producing ethanol. And this money also is going to go to farmers. So the greater demand for the maize in the market is going to help Indian farmers to alleviate their own poverty. Income levels will go up, as well as help us in fighting for the climate, improving our own climate across the country. So I am very happy that today the 15th National Convention is happening. We have heard many eminent speakers. I wanted to highlight some of the fundamental goals which are there both on the poverty front, hunger front, and the climate front, where achieving sustainable goals by 2030 would be feasible. On the food front, a number of new initiatives that came. You will recall that during the pandemic, there were very touching and emotional scenes of the migrant workers moving from one part of the country to another. Our country used this as an opportunity, created a migrant workers portal now, which is nearly fully developed, got a network with the state governments, and created a concept of portability of food grain, which is one nation, one ration card, which means anybody, any worker for economic reasons moving from one part of the country to another part, or within the same district or within the same state, can carry his entitlement along with him without any hassle. And nobody can ask him any question, and he can carry it either fully or partially. This facility has been possible because of the use of technology. So during the pandemic period, India has also deployed use of technology in a big way, and a lot of things which were otherwise looking impossible became possible. So I would like to thank organizers of the UN Global Compact Network India and all people who are part of today's discussion, that in next 2 days, when you have sessions on all important topics covering health, hunger, businesses, poverty, climate change, all these topics will be deliberated in a very meaningful manner, and ways and means would be suggested to take the achievement of the agenda possible at the earliest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey, for underlining and highlighting the government's efforts in the direction of the SDGs. Moving ahead, the goals, vision, and efforts of the United Nations Global Compact is driving the India Network in steering the sustainability agenda in our country. We have a special video message from the CEO and the Executive Director of the UN Global Compact, Ms. Sanda Ujambe.
Excellencies, business leaders, distinguished guests, and colleagues. Greetings from New York. I'm Sanda Ujambe, the CEO and Executive Director of the United Nations Global Compact, and I'm happy to greet you at this 15th National Convention of Global Compact Network India. I know that your dialogue today will focus on raising SDG ambition and forging pathways for sustainable recovery. This could not be more timely. Just 2 weeks ago, Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced the UN Global Compact's new strategic plan for the period 2021 to 2023. Through that plan, we seek to accelerate business action on the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Climate Agreement, underpinned by our 10 principles. As we have learned this past year, pandemics do not recognize national borders. Neither does the climate crisis. So any sustainable recovery from the devastation of COVID-19 must be built on a global foundation of climate resilience. Given the country's enormous influence and economic clout, Global Compact Network participants in India are key players in this historic effort. You are a vital link in the chain of more than 12,000 companies and 3,000 non-business signatories that have joined the Global Compact since its founding in the year 2000. Every participant has made a commitment to adopt sustainable, responsible business policies under the 10 principles of the Global Compact. The 10 principles span human rights, labor, the environment, and the fight against corruption. And when companies integrate these principles into their core operations and across their value chains, they also drive progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. While the world has made great strides towards some of the 17 global goals, progress on others has stalled or even reversed. And now, the unequal impacts of COVID-19 have intertwined with other long-standing social and economic injustices. But in every crisis, there is an opportunity. For business, this crisis presents an opportunity and a necessity to transform themselves. Business as usual is not an option. In the months and years ahead, companies of all sizes, in all sectors, must rethink the way that they work. They must update their mental and physical balance sheets to account for both social impact and business benefit. Yet business cannot do this alone. To that effect, meaningful change, to recover better together, all of us, government, civil society, academia, and the UN, have to collaborate, have to coordinate, have to innovate, and have to activate. Setting ambitious goals for sustainable, responsible business is just the start. Making them measurable and scalable is the next step. But to truly integrate the 10 principles and SDGs into business, top management must lead the change. They must hardwire sustainability into every aspect of the organization. As the father of the nation in India, Mahatma Gandhi, said, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." Global Compact Network India has been a force for responsible, sustainable change since 2001. Let us work together strategically to not only continue, but to accelerate our work on the SDGs. The UN Global Compact is here to work with you side by side, uniting business for the better world that we wish to see. Thank you.
We extend our warm gratitude to Ms. Sanda Ujiambo for this video address. We also thank her for acknowledging India Network's efforts in this direction. She's rightly said that business as usual would not work. We need to accelerate our efforts, both in public and private sector. And with this, I would like to invite a key player from the private sector, Nestle India's CMD, Mr. Suresh Narayanan, who is with us to give the keynote address on the occasion.
Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to Mr. Shashi Shankar, Dr. Udesh Kohli, and Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey, and other dignitaries who have joined on this the UNGCNI session that we are having in India. It is a very important subject that is being put up today, which is really raising the SDG ambition, pathways for a sustainable recovery and growth. And why is it so very important that private entities and the government come together on something as important as this? For the simple reason that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing, in a global partnership. They recognize that eliminating extreme poverty, building partnerships, and spurring economic growth must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, all while tackling climate change. A successful sustainable development agenda requires partnerships between governments, the private sector, civil society, and others, built on set principles and values. And a broad ownership of the SDGs must translate to a strong commitment by all stakeholders to implement the global goals. While we have had the serious affliction of the pandemic, which has caused enormous social, economic, and societal changes and destruction, yet, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the relevance of the SDGs have remain, and will continue to remain for us in the quest for the improvement of mankind as we go forward. The mission ahead of us, the task ahead of us, has been made all the more tenuous, all the more difficult, and all the more challenging in the aftermath of the pandemic. And yet, as Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey, the Secretary for the Department of Food and Public Distribution, very eloquently outlined, it is possible if the will, the resources, the heart and mind of a nation come together to join hands in very difficult circumstances and prove to themselves and to the world that they are capable of surmounting the most difficult challenges that you face. In this situation, I would really suggest that there are 5 areas where the role of the private sector is important in accelerating the SDGs. I call them the 5 C's, and I will very quickly elaborate on what I mean. The first C is the C of convergence. The private sector shares many of the same interests and goals as governments in terms of creating more resilient societies, since businesses need flourishing societies in order to thrive. In the context of SDGs, private sector participation becomes critical to strengthening the economy in the country, employing youth, and solving global challenges like climate change. There's been some good progress in the SDGs from governments, NGOs, and businesses alike. Look at what's material, making commitments, and working on shared goals towards achieving the ambitions. The second C is the C of coordination. Corporates are adopting and integrating the SDGs. For example, in the areas of human rights, labor, and environment, there is a lot of coordination that is happening between their strategies, operations, and these goals. Corporates, being at the forefront of science and technology, are pushing to deliver accelerated impact towards SDGs through areas such as breakthrough innovations and partnerships. And today, many industries have made significant progress on sustainability goals with their energy efficiency initiatives, water management initiatives, engineering systems, and waste management initiatives. The third C is the C of community. Many private sector players are aligning their CSR activities in the area of education, health, etc. with the SDGs, and this makes for an opportunity to accelerate the societal initiatives. Since I represent Nestle, which is the world's largest consumer goods company and also the largest entity in the food, nutrition, and wellness space, let me share some examples from what is being done at Nestle. At Nestle, our societal initiatives create an enabling environment for best outcomes with respect to SDGs, be it good health and well-being, which is SDG 3, quality education, which is SDG 4, gender equality, which is SDG 5, or clean water and sanitation, which is SDG 6, among others. Our societal initiatives focus on improving access to clean drinking water for communities, promoting water-saving irrigation practices, increasing awareness on nutrition, enhancing farm productivity, and providing healthy learning environment in schools by improving hygiene and sanitation practices. The company's flagship initiative, which is called the Nestle Healthy Kids program, which has been on in India for over 10 years now, promotes nutrition, health, and well-being for adolescents. Key to this program is the understanding of a balanced diet, promotion of healthy eating habits, awareness of food and personal hygiene, and the importance of physical activity as a part of daily routine of adolescents. I'm happy to share that this program has positively impacted the lives of around 400,000 adolescents in the marginalized communities. I would like to share another example of our societal project Vriddhi, which is an initiative towards village adoption and an ambition to improve the well-being and livelihoods of 1,500 people in Rohira village in Nuh district of Haryana for bringing a positive change in the lives of the locals. We have been providing support in the area of health, education, and agri practices. The fourth C is in the area of climate and sustainability. And I believe many of the previous speakers have alluded to this extremely important goal in the SDG. Environment in the context of SDGs clearly seek the introduction of products with lower carbon footprint, water-saving technologies, and a move to sustainable packaging. Again, examples from Nestle. Globally, we have launched our own Institute of Packaging Sciences to develop functional, safe, and environment-friendly packaging solutions. In India, we are addressing the plastic waste management, and our key brands like Maggi Noodles, Nescafe, and KitKat have become plastic neutral, which means that the amount of plastic that we generate in the packaging material is neutralized by the quantum that is collected and recycled by us. We are also creating awareness about anti-littering and waste segregation at source, which is a key to establish sustainable waste management systems. For us, water and energy usage and greenhouse gases has been in our DNA for a long time. If I take the last 15 years between 2004 and 2019, for every ton of production, Nestle India has reduced the usage of energy by around 49%, reduced the water usage by around 54%, reduced the greenhouse gases generation by around 58%, and generation of wastewater by also 59%. Globally, Nestle is accelerating our climate change efforts, and we have already announced that we will achieve net zero emissions by 2050. Focusing on regenerative agriculture and moving to renewable electricity, our very detailed roadmap includes concrete, measurable steps to combat climate change. It is one thing, ladies and gentlemen, to make a pronouncement. It is another thing to deliver it day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. The final element of involvement is in consumption. A very important area linked to SDGs where businesses have a strong role to play is responsible consumption and production. Transparency in supply chains and responsible sourcing of materials are essential to ensuring our sustainable future. Once again, I would like to give an example of Nestle that I am extremely proud of, not only as an employee of this company, but also as a very proud Indian. Our milk district model supports direct milk sourcing and has helped us develop shorter, more sustainable supply chains. It has driven positive change in communities through direct relationships with around 100,000 farmers. And these are primarily in Punjab, in Haryana, and in Rajasthan. And our approach means that whether it is an individual farmer with 1 cow or a large farmer with 100 cows, every liter of milk that we purchase meets our stringent quality and safety standards. And these standards also include agrarian practices and other environment-related practices. This has been put in effect by the company not for 1 or 2 years, but for the last 60 years. In sum and substance, ladies and gentlemen, the SDGs are a beacon of hope, a direction, a goal, a dream and an ambition that all of us, whether we are in the public sector, the private sector, part of the government, part of non-governmental organizations, or wherever we are, these will be relevant, continue to be relevant, and will be important for us as we move forward in the post-pandemic situation. So during the pandemic itself, there has been numerous efforts that have been put in. The COVID-19 has had a parallel threat of health, economic and social crisis, leading to poverty, hunger, healthcare and education derailment. And herein, as a company, we have not found ourselves wanting. Why? Because each of these are part of the sustainable development goals that we have been pursuing for a long, long time. So whether it is supporting frontline warriors, farmers, suppliers, business partners, whether it is feeding meals, providing dry rations, working with NGOs for the help of serving more than 1.5 million people, all of these, along with augmenting medical supplies, augmenting food and beverage products wherever needed, working with the Indian Red Cross and also with numerous other NGOs during this period, has been a satisfying moment for the company. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the most appropriate time for us to revisit, to recalibrate, to rededicate, and to reorient ourselves to the Sustainable Development Goals. These 17 goals are simple, straightforward, and clear, just as our actions need to be sincere, trustworthy, and sustained over a period of time. I thank you all once again for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. I wish this conference all success. It is imperative, it is important, it is something that we cannot get our eye from. Whether we are interested or whether we are in the periphery, these are going to determine the future of mankind. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Narayanan, for giving a very informative address. It gave good insights as to how private players can make a big difference in context of sustainability. And with this, I would now like to invite Ms. Shabnam Siddiqui, the officiating Executive Director of the Global Compact Network India. In her leadership, the network is actively engaged in promoting the sustainability agenda with the businesses across the board. Ms. Siddiqui. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Sorry. So good evening, everyone. It has been a complete pleasure listening to such erudite speakers. Thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out to grace this occasion. Here, I would like to especially share that as Sanda, our Executive Director and CEO of the United Nations Global Compact, shared that just last week, the United Nations Global Compact came up with its 2021-2023 strategy. And the core element of this strategy is that the strategy was shared by the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who's also the president of the board. And he said that only through collective action can society build back better from this global pandemic and become more resilient on a trajectory to achieve the SDGs. Now, this is crucial because as we see in this session also, we have had stakeholders from various fields. So it's really a great thing that Global Compact Network India can continue to champion the vision of the Secretary General. In particular, I would like to thank Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey. It's the first time that we have had him on our platform, and the kind of commitment and expansive work that he shared, that his department is doing both at the global and local level. And the focus on supply chains was truly exemplary. Mr. Suresh Narayanan, the entire focus of Nestle, and especially the 5 C's that you spoke about, convergence, coordination, community, climate, and consumption, is crucial for the company as such. And when we talk about promoting and implementing the 17 SDGs, we say that an important C that is most required for businesses is the C of courage. Courage essentially would mean how do you think out of the box, how do you take up challenges, and how do you convert challenges into opportunities. We hope that both Mr. Pandey and Mr. Narayanan will continue to be available and part of the Global Compact India family. And then, of course, the entire Global Compact family, starting with our leader, Mr. Shashi Shankar, the president of the Global Compact Network India, his speech, both on today's event and the video bite that you see is available on social media, is so focused. We are extremely proud of him being in the leadership role and guiding us despite his extremely busy schedule. His focus on climate is something that I completely am attuned to, and it's very important that when we call this a decade of action, the focus on climate and responding to climate exigencies is important. Sanda Ojiambo, our CEO and Executive Director, even though she has just joined the team, she's been part of the Global Compact for long. And the very fact, like today, she was very keen on coming, but just that the time difference between when we were trying to do the session and the timing in New York was so haywire that she couldn't join in person. But still, she sent the video message, which is very important. And it's glad to see that she also regards the Indian leadership, Indian ethos as part of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Mr. Ranjan Mohapatra, it was really our loss that he could not come and join personally, because he has been a leading force behind the organization of this complete event as chair of the committee of the 15th National Convention. So much so that when he was in his erratic schedule of travel with various parliamentary committees, he has taken review of convention on weekends. So the one time that he should have relaxed at home is the time that he would ask for feedback. And throughout the day, even today, he has been taking feedbacks of the sessions and the logistics and everything else. So we are very, very thankful to both him and his backend team at IOCL who has made things possible. Two other people that we are thankful for, Dr. Uddesh Kohli. Dr. Kohli is the key person who's the founder member of the Global Compact. He's been there right from the start, and he's been a guiding force to us, and Vishwesh Prabhakar, because Accenture has been a continuous partner with us for the last couple of years. With their leadership, with their vision, it's also much more easier for us to put this entire convention on, put the entire show on. So we are very thankful to Vishwesh and his entire team. We are thankful also to all the partners and sponsors for reaffirming faith. When we planned this convention a couple of months ago, we were really jittery because we were thinking that it's the first time that we're doing a virtual convention. What would be the response? Will our partners come on board? And to our pleasant surprise and to the credibility of the organization, each and every partner that has continued to support us over the years was right there when we needed them, even when we gave them a shout out at short notice. So thank you so much to all the partners and sponsors for reaffirming your faith in us. Thanks also to the moderators and speakers that have graciously accepted our invite and will be sharing their knowledge on scaling up the SDG ambition through this two-day event. We have 2 sessions today and few sessions tomorrow. So look forward to exploring and doing a deep dive on specific SDGs. We are also thankful to Global Compact members and signatories from India, and currently some of them are based abroad. All participants who are attending this conference either on this platform or whether they are watching it being live streamed on YouTube and Facebook, your participation, your involvement means a lot to us and keeps us going. I'm also especially thankful because for the first time in this event, we are going virtual and we have small bandwidth. So it was the right time to have a new team, the team of Sustainivers on board, especially. So I'm sure there's a big team behind the 2 wonderful girls who have been coordinating with us, but a special thanks to Rashika and Ankita, because they have been really working round the clock in getting this platform working since you're using it for the first time. Richa, of course, for such smooth and efficient hosting. You are an ace. You are an ace at this. You have been doing it for years with NDTV. So it's been a pleasure to have you on board. And of course, my entire GCNI team. I'm so proud to work with this entire group of people. We have dedicated this convention to Mr. Kamal Singh, our leader who passed away unfortunately, but who in the 3.5 years that he was with the Global Compact What he did do was sharpen the talents of my team members to take all these individual activities on their shoulders. And this particular convention has been ably led by my colleague Aseem Kumar. Aseem had the leadership. I'm sure he's been in touch with a lot of you on a one-on-one basis and taking this forward. And not to miss Deep, Tamanna, Shreya, Panchali, Somnath, Ankita, Arya, Rajinder, Raj. All of these people who are attending might have interacted with at some point or the other, but these is the dedicated team. The leadership has changed twice, but the team continues and they continue to be dedicated to the Global Compact. Our interns with the different team members, unfortunately, there are quite a few. I could not take their name individually, but you are kind of helping us put everything on social media. So thank you to all the interns who have provided the much needed support and backup to the GCNI team. And finally, a big thank you to all the local networks of the Global Compact. I think it is very heartwarming to know that many local networks have especially joined to cheer us on. The vision of the One Global Compact has grown in the last couple of years, and the pandemic has truly put that vision into action. It has been an intriguing paradox that the pandemic kept us away physically from each other, but in many other ways, the world has got more interconnected. To one and all, thank you so much. Over to you, Richa.
Thank you so much, Ms. Siddiqui. I must say that you very warmly expressed your gratitude to each and everyone today, and it takes really some skill to remember so many people in one go in such a short span of time. So thank you so much. So with this inaugural session comes to a close, but there's lots more left in the day. So stay tuned with us. We have our next session, which is a plenary session. And before we move into that session, I'd like to tell our attendees and participants that they can explore a lot more on this platform apart from participating in these sessions. There's an opportunity to e-network through this forum by exploring different areas, going to the lounge. You can also know more about our partners who are supporting us in this mission by going to the e-booths in the arena section. So do explore all these facilities through this platform. And now we would be moving into the next session of the Global Compact Network India National Convention, which is about promoting which is about commitment for sustainable recovery, opportunities for socio-economic well-being and growth for the most vulnerable. So the National Convention being organized today and tomorrow provides a platform to discuss, explore, and highlight the solutions to pressing issues with regard to the SDG ambition. And before we move into that session, a quote is coming to my mind by Charles Darwin. It's not the most intellectual of the species that survives. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, but the species that survives is the one that is able to best adapt and adjust to the changing environment in which it finds itself. This calls for a change in our practices, in our outlook, in consciousness to recognize that the natural resources are limited and we cannot always keep consuming and not contributing and saving and preserving for a better world for our future generations. And with this, we will be moving into the plenary session in a short while from now, where we would be joined by Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, who is moderating this special session. Mr. Chatterjee would be with us in a short while. And before we move into it, I'd like to remind our participants that the India network of the Global Compact ranks amongst the top 10 out of more than 90 local networks in the world. And it was really a pleasure to hear the acknowledgement from the CEO and the Executive Director of the UN Global Compact regarding India Network's efforts in this regard. So with this, I would like to invite Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, former DG and CEO, IICA, Government of India, who is moderating this session.